Robert Plank Show, episode 266, Affiliate Mastery: How to Generate High, Targeted, and Fast Commissions with Myke Metzger. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Myke Metzger, and you know what? When I'm listening to podcasts and things like that, I like to sometimes research the person or Google them. So just to make sure that you guys have his name, so you can check him out. That's Myke with a Y. That's M-Y-K-E. Metzger, M-E-T-Z-G-E-R. So Myke Metzger, and he's the guy that all online ballers pay to optimize their sales process. And Myke has founded the Ultimate Entrepreneur motivational page on Instagram, and he's helped coach tens of thousands of entrepreneurs across the world. And his featured videos on Facebook have received over 10.5 million views from around the world. And his feature in Outlier magazine referred to Myke as breathing new life into what already exists in the social media world. And he's done a bunch of cool things. I don't want to read the bio for too long. So, Mr. Myke, how are things today?
Hey man, I'm great. How about yourself?
Better than ever. Can't complain. Doing fantastically. And so, you're the, I guess, the guy behind the guy behind the guy. And so, people, I guess, they need help with their sales process, and they come to you. Is that about right?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with basically kind of what you said, the guy behind the scenes that helps people improve their process. And so to make that make sense for anybody who's listening, really what that means is everybody sees the gurus out there, but a lot of the times these gurus, they have so many pieces that are behind the scenes that are working. Maybe it's a webinar, maybe it's a sales call, and those are the types of things that I help them improve because it's something that I've been able to master myself.
Awesome. So, do you work with anyone who's starting from scratch, or who maybe they have a business but no webinar, or do you want them to already kind of have something in place?
I do. I work with both.
Cool. And so, can you kind of maybe walk us through a case study of something like that, where someone kind of came to you and needed your expertise, and you worked your magic and did some cool stuff?
Yeah, of course. Recently, I've had a student. His name is Andrew James, and he started working with myself and my partner, Adam Wenig. He had spent a lot of money trying to figure out online programs and trying to find out how to make money on the internet. He spent a ton of money on coaching programs and mentorship. And eventually he just kind of got fed up, and he ended up reaching out to myself and my partner, Adam, and some of the coaches and guys that we work with. And we walked Andrew through a process called affiliate marketing and helped him from scratch. He was actually $5,000 in debt trying to figure this stuff out. And we started to work with him, and he really didn't have any experience or any success. You know, he had looked into it, but didn't really know where to start or how to put the pieces together. And we worked with him for his first month, and he generated about $14,000 in sales, which resulted in a little over $4,000 in profit. And we've actually taken him and a handful of other people all across the world. We've been to the Dominican Republic. We just got back from the Bahamas. I personally just got back from Miami. And so we travel around and work with a lot of young guys and young girls, and really people of all ages, but particularly in between the ages of 20 and 30, and that's where people are really trying to figure out how to get their stuff together and figure out this whole internet thing.
Awesome. And so, if I'm hearing you right, so there's a specific reason why you prefer that kind of age range, because maybe they're coachable and pliable and hungry, or for some reason?
Well, mainly because what I believe is not sharing opinions, right? And I personally, I can't relate to the life or the experience of somebody who hasn't gone through what I've been through, or vice versa. I haven't been through what they've been through, right? So it's sometimes I find it difficult to give actionable advice to people who maybe aren't in that age bracket. And we do. I mean, we have people that we've worked with that are, I guess quote unquote, full grown adults. They're 50 years old, but they've got kids. And sometimes there's just a little bit of a disconnect, and it can be hard to give them actionable advice because I don't have kids running around, and I don't have to go to the soccer game, and I don't have to, show up to my career. I was fortunate enough to jump into this industry at 24, kind of lost and broke, and I didn't have a job that was in my way. It was just all room to grow. But in all reality, the further you go in life, you take on all these responsibilities, and sometimes it can be hard to find a way around those responsibilities when you're already kind of committed to them. So totally down to work with anybody, but we've found the best results with people that are just like us and starting just where we started, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Just that as as we all get older in the years, we accumulate more stuff, right? Accumulate the house and the spouse and the kids and all that stuff, and then it seems like later on in life, like the people's like decision making is limited and their time is limiting. So that totally makes sense. And so in this sort of case study with your Andrew James client, where he didn't wasn't doing well with affiliate marketing, you helped him. What were the kind of steps you had him take to overcome that?
So the big epiphany that we've had is two things that we share with a lot of people that reach out to us or need help, ask for mentorship. And one of them is a lot of people are kind of stuck in this old school way of doing things, which is going out and trying to talk to friends and family. And there's tons of wonderful opportunities out there that involve that. But what we've discovered is that it's much easier to work with people online that are already looking for a solution that you can put in place. And so, for example, it's very difficult in a business model to try and convince new people to make new decisions about new products and services. Like that's a really tough business model, no matter what you're doing. But by transitioning into the internet space and starting to understand that there are millions of consumers out there that are spending money every single day on the internet, it's much simpler to then understand the potential of somebody like an affiliate marketer that doesn't necessarily need one particular product that they're in love with. They can be kind of that middleman that sells a ton of different stuff on the internet if they could just master the skills. But what they can do is they can then craft an offer that meets any audience's on the web's needs, and they can place that offer in front of an audience or a target market that already exists rather than trying to create one. And that's kind of one of the big discoveries, just helping people understand that there is already transactions occurring on a second by second basis on the internet. And if you can just get in front of those people, success will come to you. It will run right into you. The second big epiphany that we had and that we share with our students is focusing on stuff that's going to pay out higher commissions. So in the world of internet business, there's tons of things that could pay you, $5 here and $20 there. And if your goal is ultimately to become successful, and if that means getting rich, that's a very difficult thing to do, is make, $10,000 a month. If you're doing that $18 at a time, that's really, really hard to do. But if you could focus on what we call high ticket, which is selling more high-end products, and we sell anything from high-end water filters to luxury automobiles to software downloads and coaching programs, all of that stuff has a much higher payout. And it makes it a lot easier for people like Andrew and people that are listening that might just be getting started. Even though it sounds intimidating, it's much easier to use those same skills and make less sales that have a higher payout than trying to make more sales that have a lower payout. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, both those things are super awesome. And the first thing that reminds me of going back to like old school, like Eugene Schwartz type of stuff, of that the whole idea of like you can't create a need. It's way, I mean, it's like billions of times easier just to go and find people already looking for that solution and get in front of them, as opposed to trying to change people's minds. And then that thing about focusing on higher commissions. I mean, I knew a guy maybe at least 10 years ago where I think he would sell like treadmills or something. And he would sell like these, $3,000 treadmills and make $1,000 commission, as opposed to trying to fight for the penny. So I mean, I completely get that. Makes a lot of sense. So number one, position yourself online to be in front of people already looking for that kind of solution. And then number two, focus on those higher commissions. And I mean, crazy that you even sold like luxury automobiles from affiliate programs and stuff like that. And so if you when you're having these people set up these affiliate offers, or you're setting them up yourself as an affiliate, I mean, what do people need to do? Like, should they be like looking at programs they can join? Should they be confining themselves to a niche, or spread out across different things? Like, what's kind of your thought process there?
Well, I think in general, you always want to master one thing first. So as wonderful as it sounds to just have money coming in from all directions as an affiliate marketer, like if it were easy, everybody would do that, right? And how wonderful would that be? But in the beginning, you really got to master one thing. And so when we first started, just speaking about affiliate marketing, we actually started with like a $7 info product just on the law of attraction. And that was where we kind of hit our bumps and bruises and realized that it wasn't as easy as it looks when, you see the gurus share their story about how they've become millionaires from affiliate marketing or running Facebook ads or what have you. And that was where we started to learn that maybe the cheaper stuff was maybe too big of an investment as far as time goes, not monetarily, but just spending so much time trying to sell these little cheap offers. But to answer your question, I think when we first started, it was really, and I guess I'm kind of forgetting like what the original question was, but going from info. Oh, okay. So going from info products, we figured out the basics, and then from there, we really picked one product for like a solid year. And that was during 2015. And we just mastered that one thing before we started to branch out. And I think that that's crucial, because if you can get the skills and you understand how it's done with one product, then you can branch out and use it in so many different ways. And then when you really understand the skills, you don't even have to be the guy that's selling anything anymore. You can position yourself as a consultant or a coach. So once we started to really learn how online sales were happening, now we're able to even get hired from small businesses that are going to pay a retainer to help them run their ads and sell their products. So there's so many different ways to make money or become successful once you get the skills down. I think a lot of people get distracted on, kind of like shiny object syndrome. They see something and then they're like, oh, well, maybe that'll work better than this. And in my personal opinion, I don't think anything works better than something else. I think it's got to be the conscious decision to just master it no matter how hard it is. Because if you do it right and it's really hard, everything else is easy after that. That's what I think.
Awesome, and I totally get that. And I think that's either a good reminder or a good lesson for people listening, that it's really tempting to kind of start. I mean, it's easy to start a lot of things, right? It's easy to start a bunch of projects and leave a bunch of stuff half finished and say, I'm going to make all these sites, have all these programs, and it's really easy just to spread yourself thin, spending a lot of time doing nothing. And so I really like your thought process there, where you get good at one thing or one skill that way, and just stick to that one thing. That way you're also not replicating your mistakes across all these different things. Like if you had said, we're going to set up 100 affiliate pages or whatever, then you'd be just making the same mistake over and over again. And now with this way, you can just make all your mistakes early and get good at that skill. And then, like you said, that turned into all those other opportunities where you manage people's accounts for them. And so when you said that you focused on one product, what does that mean exactly? Like, what kind of things did you set up? What kind of action did you take?
Sure. So once we kind of figured out that this is what we wanted to do, right? Like just the general concept of being the resourceful guy that makes money on the internet, right? And once we decided that the smaller, like low ticket info products and stuff wasn't going to be the vehicle or the right answer for us, the very first product that we had success with is like a high-end water filter, and we still sell them today. They sell for like $2,000 to like $6,000. And in the beginning, it was tough, because if you think about that, a $5,000 water filter, it's like not many people would buy that, right? And so it was really the concept of using Facebook ads and building an online process that was explaining the product in detail. And once we got the like, I guess you would call it the sales pitch, right? Once we got the process down that would help us sell the product, then we had to find the right people. And so what it means is it's a combination of finding, targeted traffic, which basically just means somebody that's highly likely to buy your particular product, and then figure out how to sell it. And to put that into like normal terms, let's say that here's like a really good analogy that I like to share with people is you could be the greatest surfer in the entire world, and you could have the most expensive high-end, high-performance surfboard that they sell on planet Earth. And if there's not a wave in the ocean, it doesn't matter how good you are, you'll never ride into shore. It'll never happen. So you could be the best in your field and you could have the best possible tools, but if there's not a market for it, if there's not a wave happening in the ocean, no matter how good you are, you'll never get results. And for a while, that's what we kept running into, is like we knew that we were pretty good. We felt like we had a good grasp on what we were doing. We had the tools, we had the motivation and the effort, but there just wasn't a wave. And so we decided to hit the pause button and do research on like what a good product would be to start with. And that was how we discovered the water filters, was we were seeing what was happening in the US, in Flint, Michigan, and New Orleans, and kind of with like the water problems that were happening in the Hudson River with like the nuclear waste and stuff. And we also watched a movie that kind of really resonated with us called The Big Short, that was talking about the market crash in 2008. And it mentioned this guy, Michael Burry, who's like a big multi-billion-dollar investor who predicted the housing crash of 2008. And we were watching the credits of the movie, and it was talking about all the investments he was making, and they were in the water industry. So that was the kind of the turning point for us. We're like, okay, now we found a market. Like, this is where a wave is happening. No pun intended. Of course, the wave just represents the market moving. But literally, as a wave, we discovered the water industry. And that was like that was the big aha moment. And we said, okay, like now that we've got the right industry, let's find the right product. And that was when we dove into like high-end water filters, because, people out in Hollywood and everywhere, these people have, humongous homes, and they spend 10, 15, $20,000 installing, these high-grade water filters inside of their homes to make sure that their family and their pets and everybody in their life has safe drinking water. And man, we got behind it because it was a good product with a good cause and an amazing commission. And once we buckled down and figured it out, we just ran with it. And that was our first big success. And that's what I mean by, saying we discovered our first product, it was water filters, and we just ran with it. So that's kind of the condensed story of what happened.
Whoops, that's pretty cool, and it's almost like you were like aware of everything around you, and it just seemed like enough things clicked at one time for you to kind of look into that. And so you narrowed down a good industry, and then you found a good product that was in demand and had a high commission and stuff like that. And so when you kind of do that sort of research and you get it narrowed down, do you ever come across stuff where like you're not quite sure it's going to sell, or is there ever a situation where you have to like use any kind of tools or send some test traffic? I guess what I'm asking is like, have there been times when you find something that's popular and people are talking about it, but like just for some reason just isn't selling?
Yeah, of course. And I think that kind of happens with like everybody. You could find like the best product ever, and you could jump on it and it doesn't mean it's going to sell. Because everything takes testing, and especially in internet marketing. Anything online, it takes testing, because the weirdest stuff will work. And people will ask me questions, hey, do you think this website looks good? Or do you think this blog article is good? Or do you think this video is good? And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's more about what the audience thinks. And the way that you find that out is by testing. And so that could be, running some sort of social campaign where you share the content to an email list or Facebook, or even over, other things like Instagram and Snapchat, and get feedback from the marketplace on what they like or what they don't like. Or when you start to do a little bit better and you have the budget, then you pay for Facebook ads or any sort of advertising, really. And that's going to give you the real raw data that's going to help you understand what really is working. And to help people understand like the magnitude of how important testing is, you could have something that's got, a blue button on your website, and for some reason it's just, it's not working. People aren't looking at your product, or people aren't entering their info to learn more, right? And then you could switch around a couple words and make the button orange, and it takes off. And logically, I don't know why that happens, but it comes down to a lot of things. It comes down to science, it comes down to data, it comes down to, human reaction and NLP and all these different things, right? But in a broad statement, nobody really knows why some things work better than others. The only thing that's ever going to determine that is by testing it. So we do a lot of testing, and for the majority, we use Facebook ads to look at how much traffic, and then look at, what percentage of people are actually interested in the offers we sell. And based on that traffic and the numbers, then we make adjustments. And, that gives us time to bounce back and forth between trying to learn new information, always looking at what other people are doing and seeing if theirs is working better than ours, and making those adjustments. And I always try not to go by opinion. I try to test everything and make sure that we can find facts in the things that we do right or wrong. So testing is always key. And like I said, some of the things that we do are Facebook ads. We'll send out surveys via email and simple little tricks like that. And Even if we're on the phone with like future clients, we'll ask them questions, how did you find us? And if people are like, oh, this isn't a good fit for me, we'll try to keep them on the phone and ask, well, what did you not like? What would you recommend? What were you looking for? So it's always about getting feedback and improving.
Awesome. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that like it's easy to kind of let our own ego get in the way, and maybe we made up our mind ahead of time about how something's going to perform. And I mean, the only way to know for sure is to test and to let people vote with their wallets. So it makes a lot of sense to me. And so you've done this affiliate marketing, and you've provided coaching for affiliate marketers and stuff like that. Do you do coaching on like any other areas or stuff like that outside of affiliate marketing?
I do actually. I actually teach some really cool stuff that people really enjoy. And some of the things that people don't know about me is a lot of this stuff I had to learn it on my own. And I meet so many people that now, 3 years into this, they think like, oh, you know everything and you're lucky and what have you. But the reality is that I had to learn this stuff the same way that a lot of people that are listening to this probably have to learn it, and it's going through free YouTube videos and trying to like subscribe to people's free emails and read them and just take every little nugget that you can, because I didn't have a huge budget. I didn't have a credit line to just go out and practice this stuff. I had to work my butt off to do everything I could to earn every little dollar that I could eventually reinvest. And after 2 years, it finally took off. But to answer your question, through that process, I've learned some really cool little tricks, and I always love to share them with people. And I have a couple classes on my website that talk about these couple things. And one of the really cool classes or skills that I'm able to teach people that they like that has nothing to do with affiliate marketing is I actually teach a class called Freebie Hacks, and it teaches people how they can become a paid Amazon product tester. It's really simple to do. For anybody that knows me, I don't ever say that anything is easy, but this is the one thing that I am open and willing to say is pretty easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't really take many skills, but I offer a class, and it's a 2-hour workshop with me that teaches people how they could actually position themselves as a product reviewer. And they can get dozens, if not like hundreds. Like I have a student, her name is Ingrid. She's got 4 kids. And her and her 6-year-old do this together, and they've gotten over 113 products for free from Amazon based on the information that I've taught them. And so, at the very least, if all it did for somebody was just help them get a bunch of free products, they would love it. But there is the potential to make a few $100 a month. It's not going to make you rich, but you can earn some money by reviewing products. And myself and my students, we've gotten everything from record players and Bluetooth speakers to watches and clothes and health products and all kinds of different stuff, and people really like it. So that's something that's really, really cool. If it sounds interesting, they could check it out at freebiehacks.com or just my regular website, mykemetzger.com. And I have one other thing that I teach that's really cool, and it's kind of in that same correlation, and it's called travel hacks. And I've learned a lot about traveling because when I first jumped into this industry, one of my big goals was to be able to travel. I didn't want to worry about money. I wanted to fly around the world. I wanted to fly first class. I wanted to go to other countries and do cool stuff and meet cool people and experience cool cultures. But I didn't have the money to do that. And so throughout my years of starting to finally earn income, and everything kind of took off for me really in late 2015. And I was finally able to leave the East Coast and go to California for the first time, and go to the Dominican Republic and spend an entire month there working from my laptop on the ocean, and go on cruises to the Bahamas and Cozumel. And I've done some really cool stuff. But through that process, I've learned a lot about traveling. And one of the other things that I kind of discovered through this process was that the same exact concept that I just shared with you about how to get free Amazon products, it works in travel as well. And the reason it works is because a lot of hotels and airlines and tour guides in different places around the world, they're willing to gift their services. So if it's like a hotel room or a flight or maybe like an adventure park, a lot of people are looking for people to share their experience at their place. Like I said, hotel room or adventure park, whatever it might be. And in exchange for you blogging or sharing a review, like a 5-star review of their hotel, they'll give you a free service, maybe a free hotel room, maybe a free first class flight. And so when I ran across this, I discovered what's called travel blogging, and that's what Travel Hacks is all about. And you can position yourself again as a travel blogger, and it's as simple as setting up a little WordPress website, having a nice picture of you, and running a decent Instagram account, and taking pictures of your travels. And once you've done that, you can establish yourself as a quote unquote traveler. And once you've done that, there's a lot of opportunity out there, and people think it's so hard to do, but it's actually really simple to blog about your travels. And when you can do that, you'll start to build an audience. When you have an audience, you can leverage that to these different companies, whether it's Hilton or JetBlue or Disney World, and you can reach out to them about opportunities that they have for PR. And PR is basically media, which is what grows their business across social media and, reviews on Yelp and things like that. So you can position yourself as this type of blogger and review person. And there's money to be made in that industry. But what I think is really cool is that it provides an opportunity for people to travel for free. And with the freebie stuff, you can get free products. And that's something that I've done literally just for fun. Traveled across the world and taken advantage of a lot of opportunities. And I've got a ton of free products. And people wanted to begin to learn this stuff from me. I'd always get questions. So I put together a couple courses, a couple little workshops from me that teach people A to Z exactly how to do that stuff. And so other than affiliate marketing, those are some of like the really fun stuff that aren't as advanced that a lot of even my friends and family love to do and that ask me about. But I've got tons of customers and tons of testimonials from people that love that stuff that I was just talking about.
Awesome. And where can people claim travel hacks?
So basically everything is going to be through my main website. You can't miss it. And it's MykeMetzger.com. So it's MykeMetzger.com. And anytime, no matter when you're listening to this, when you go to my website, on the right side, you just scroll down and you'll see it. There's a bunch of buttons on the right side. It says, hey, here's Freebie Hacks, become a paid product tester. Or, hey, here's Travel Hacks, learn how to become a travel blogger, and all kinds of other resources. So, I could give a bunch of different links, but like the main hub to always find out about what I'm doing and what I provide is through my main website.
Awesome. And what I'm hearing in sort of a pattern from the affiliate marketing stuff or even like the fun stuff like the freebie hacks and the travel hacks is it sounds like that you've been kind of dabbling yourself and trying to crack the code for whatever is in front of you, right? Cracking the code for affiliate marketing or travel hacking, and then once you have it figured out yourself and you kind of put it into some kind of a system or a product so that other people can kind of follow in your footsteps. And so that's pretty cool, and that's a nice breath of fresh air where you're teaching what works for you as opposed to just people researching or copying what they see. So cool stuff. So MykeMetzger.com, where people can go there and see the blog and see your videos and see freebie hacks, travel hacks, and all that. And then we mentioned as we got rocking and rolling on the episode today that you also help those online ballers optimize their sales process. So if those online ballers are at the site and are looking to contact you for you to help them out with their sales process, what should they click on? What should they do on the site to get in touch with you for that?
Yeah, for something like that, it's a little more personal. It's definitely more of a not one size fits all type of thing. So what I would recommend that they do is just send me an email, and they can do that at mindset@MykeMetzger.com. And that's my personal email, and that would be something that they'd have to talk to me about in person because it's definitely not a mainstream thing.
Okay, cool. So at least that way they can contact you and get the ball rolling. And before we sign off here today, Myke, are you seeing like a number one mistake being made, whether it's in an affiliate marketing or in internet marketing in general, or are you just seeing like a common mistake over and over again out there?
Yes. So this is the biggest one, and it drives me nuts. And at some point, we're all guilty of it. But I've done well over 1,000 sales calls. And in those calls, the number one commonality that I've discovered between people that aren't where they want to be is that they're always getting ready to get ready. Right. So these types of people, and here's how you'll know if you're one of them. And it might sting a little, but you've got to be self-aware enough to recognize that you're in this spot. I talk to so many people, they'll tell me about all the books they've read and all the research they've done and all the seminars they've gone to, but they don't have any results. and they're just waiting for like some sort of magical unicorn to like jump out of the sky and save them and make them rich, but it's never going to happen. And so people think that they need all of this information. And I used to think the same thing. I'd spend all this time buying these little tiny things. I'd go here and I'd buy like this $7 ebook thinking that it was going to give me the answer. Or I would go, to a $500 seminar and think that it was going to give me everything that I needed to finally break through. But when I stopped relying on that stuff and I just did what was uncomfortable for me, which could be a lot of different things. Like for some people, it could be jumping on that very first sales call. It could be making that first investment into something that they know is going to stretch their wallet a little bit thin, but they know they need it, right? So for me, I love ClickFunnels, and for the longest time, like I procrastinated on paying for their $300 a month service because I'm like, oh, it's kind of expensive. But those are the kind of things that you have to do it. Even reaching out to that mentor that you're afraid to talk to, or sending that email that you've been procrastinating on, making your first video, like that's a big one, getting your face on video and posting it to the web. Like those things are scary, but those things will produce way more results than reading another ebook or reading another book or, posting another Facebook status. Like doing the uncomfortable stuff and finally just taking action is what's going to change everything for anybody listening to this. Because at any level, everyone's still guilty of it. We always run into situations where, we've still got to keep growing and getting into that spot in our businesses and in our life that's uncomfortable. So I encourage people to recognize if they're continuing to get ready, to get ready, to get ready. And the people I've met, there are people that have been doing that for 5, 6, 7, 8 years of their life. And they'll tell me about all the different companies they've been a part of, all the books they've read. And so just be self-aware enough to recognize if you're in that position and stop doing that and just do the stuff that is painfully uncomfortable, and you will make more results in the next month than you have in your entire life if you just do the stuff that you don't want to do. And that's my number one piece of advice.
Awesome, and it's a great piece of advice, a good message, and a good wake-up call for a lot of us. Don't be getting ready to get ready. And what I liked about those examples that you listed where you said, just make that first sales call, or just send that one email, or just make that first video. These things that you listed as examples, they're not difficult. It's just like making that little bit of headway into the direction people need to be going, as opposed to the wrong direction, which it sounds like for a lot of people is kind of being stuck in that student mode. So great stuff today, Myke. I liked everything that you had to say, and everyone should go right now to MykeMetzger.com for whatever reason you have to go there. If you want to check out his videos, check out the travel hacks, the freebie hacks. If you want to email him at mindset@MykeMetzger.com, or just click around and see what he's all about. The place to go for everyone listening right now is MykeMetzger.com. So thanks so much, Myke, for stopping by and sharing what you had to share with us.
Thank you for having me, Robert. I greatly appreciate it, my friend.
Awesome. I appreciate you right back. Check out the latest episodes of our podcast on the web at robertplank.com and subscribe to us on iTunes at robertplank.com/iTunes.